Okay guys, the Catholic clergy does it again. Now, have you all seen the movie called Spotlight? I highly recommend you all watch this movie because it's on a similar topic. It's about the Boston child molestation racket by the Boston Archdiocese, and they were going on with it. They hid the story. Then I think Washington Post or some other famous newspaper brought it out. I think it was the Boston Globe. I don't remember. Anyway, but the movie came out in 2015 and has some of the best background music you'll ever hear. But watch that movie to understand how these rackets go on and how everyone helps everyone, how everyone scratches everyone's backs, to make sure these things go hidden, to make sure that these stories never come out, to make sure that the atrocities done to the kids, young minor boys, how to make sure that they never come out, these stories. For that, you all need to watch the movie called Spotlight. And today, let's get into something that has surfaced today in Portugal now, apparently. Let's check the story. All their talks of piety, austerity, staying virgin, etc., these are the things that they usually lead to. So make sure your kids are always far away from the Catholic clergy. So Portugal, Catholic clergy abused nearly 5,000 children since 1950, inquiry finds. Imagine how they have grown up. Imagine the horrors and the lifelong traumas that they have grown up with. They have transferred onto their kids and their kids. Independent Commission reaches conclusion after hearing evidence from over 500 survivors last year. Catholic clergy in Portugal have abused nearly 5,000 children since 1950. An independent commission said, thousands of reports of pedophilia within the church have surfaced around the world, and Pope Francis is under pressure to tackle the scandal. This always goes on. If you watch the movie Spotlight, you will see that at the end of the movie, they give the list of all the such scandals that have gone on associating the Christian church communities. Every community, every church somewhere or the other gets accused of these things, including India. Spotlight, the movie, shows the statistics from India as well. The Portuguese inquiry commissioned by the church in the staunchly Catholic country published its findings after hearing from more than 500 survivors last year. This testimony allows us to establish a much larger network of victims, at least 4,815, the commission head Pedro said. Stretched a child psychiatrist said it would be difficult now for Portugal to ignore the existence of child sexual abuse or the trauma it had caused. Responding to the report, the head of the Portuguese Episcopal Conference, Bishop Jose Ornelas, said, "I am satisfied with this difficult and dramatic work, and we hope it marks a new beginning." He also expressed a thought for the victims. The country's bishops will convene in March to draw conclusions from the report and quote-unquote rid the church of this scourge as much as possible. They have said it countless times. This is absolutely joke. Faced with a multitude of clergy sexual abuse cases that have come to light worldwide and the accusations of cover-ups, Pope Francis promised in 2019 to root out pedophilia in the Catholic Church. Inquiries have been launched in several countries in addition to Portugal, including Australia, France, Germany, Ireland, and Netherlands. The pontiff may meet some of the Portuguese survivors when he visits Lisbon in August, the capital's auxiliary bishop, Americo Aguiar, said recently. The time limit for bringing charges has already expired for the vast majority of offences recorded by Stret's 6-member commission, but 25 cases have been transferred to the prosecution service. One of them concerns Alexandra, a 43-year-old woman who has requested anonymity. So this is not her real name, obviously. She alleges a priest raped her during her confession when she was a 17-year-old novice nun. Raped during confession. She went in to confess something and the guy raped her. It's very hard to talk about these things in Portugal, a country where 80% of people say they are Catholic, said Alexandra, who is now a mother and works as a kitchen helper. But remember, the entire world's attention is towards Hindutva and Hinduism and Indian government becoming fascist, and this woman is saying in about 30 years after getting raped by her priest that these things are difficult to talk upon openly in Portugal. I kept it secret for many years, but it became more and more difficult to cope with it alone, she said in a telephone interview last week. She found the courage to report. This seems like I'm watching Spotlight again. This is exactly how that movie unfolds. She found the courage to report her attacker to church authorities 3 years ago, but said she was ignored, exactly how it happens in Spotlight. The bishop in charge did no more than pass on her complaint to the Vatican, which was still not responded, she said. Manuel Clemente, the Cardinal Patriarch of Lisbon and the highest-ranking prelate in Portugal, said last April that he was ready to quote-unquote recognize the errors of the past and ask survivors for forgiveness, a past that never seems to end. Bishops asking forgiveness doesn't mean anything to me, Alexandra said. We don't know if they mean it. She felt sickened by the church and its cover-ups, she added. The Independent Commission at least had afforded her an understanding ear and psychological support. It was quote-unquote a good first step for survivors who wanted to, quote, break the wall of silence, end quote, that had surrounded them, she said. This has taken far too long, Stretched quoted another anonymous victim as saying, the church needs to cleanse itself. Okay, that was the end of the video. Now comment what you think of it and how to solve these problems in India. Because in India, if we start discussing this is going to be brushed aside as a conspiracy against minorities. But remember, these things go on everywhere in the world. And make sure to watch the movie Spotlight. Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramyaka Pardini